Omelet's just being ridiculous here. All right, what's up, guys? If you guys been following my YouTube channel, you know that I own and operate an Airbnb located in Sierra Madre, California, which is a suburb within Los Angeles County. The Airbnb is a 500 square foot studio back house. We live in the front house, and the Airbnb has a full bathroom. It has its own place to cook. It has a fridge. It has washer dryer, basically everything that you need to live comfortably. And whenever I tell people that I do Airbnb, one of the main questions they ask me are, how much do you make? How much time does it take for me to manage the Airbnb? How often am I booked? And a lot of people are also interested in how much my mortgage is. So this video, we're gonna talk about all those things. I'm gonna answer all those questions by the end of this video. So let's get started. So I created this graph here of my month-to-month earnings. And as you can see by looking at this graph, that my earnings are pretty much consistent month to month. And I think this is pretty typical in Los Angeles City or Los Angeles County. There isn't really any seasonality impact in Los Angeles. So you can pretty much expect to make around the same amount every month. There is some slight variance month to month, and we're gonna talk about those variances later. So if I take my month to month earnings and I average it out, I get an average of $2,121 per month. And this is after expenses. I don't include mortgage, property tax, property insurance as part of my expenses. The only thing that I include in expenses is amenities like towels, toilet paper, shampoo, conditioner. I include snacks and drinks. I include utilities, cable TV, and cleaning supplies. If you're curious, I have a 15-year mortgage at 2.625%. Starting balance is, I think, around $390,000. So the mortgage payment is $2,600 about. So my mortgage payment is $2,600. My earnings is about $2,100. So I'm paying about $500 per month to live in the front house. Again, it is a 15-year mortgage, so if I did have a 30-year mortgage, then the payment would be lower and I would be living in this house mortgage-free. Hold on, guys. Omelet jumped off and he's on the floor, but in a different basket. So I'm gonna bring him up and put him back up with this other basket. Co-star Omelet, let's go. Okay, so if you're watching this video, you're probably looking to start an Airbnb either in Los Angeles County or Los Angeles City. And if you take a look at my Airbnb, it's actually a pretty good indicator for what the average is for a studio back house. So if you have a studio back house, then take a look at my Airbnb. It's a pretty good indicator for what you probably would make. I have a couple things that are going for me that is helping me make more money in my Airbnb. I have a couple things that are going against me that is hurting my earnings for Airbnb. Some of the things I have going for me is that I live in a pretty nice neighborhood. I also have a studio back house that is nicely decorated and also newly remodeled. I also have great reviews. We've been doing Airbnb for over a year now, and we still have a perfect 5-star rating. And then also we don't have transit occupancy tax, which is 12% in California. So basically what that means is that our guests don't have to pay an additional 12% transit occupancy tax in order to stay at our place, compared to other cities that do charge a 12% transit occupancy tax. So some of the things that we have going against us is that we live in a suburb of Los Angeles. It's kind of far away from where all the action is. We're about 20 miles northeast of LA. So it takes about 30-35 minutes to drive to Los Angeles without any traffic. And of course, most of the time there is traffic. And it takes about 45 minutes to drive to Disneyland with no traffic. And also, if you want to go to LAX, if you're flying from out of the state, out of the country, then to drive to our place, it takes almost an hour. It's also not walkable. So The closest place that you can walk to is maybe Starbucks, which is probably about a 20-25 minute walk from our place. So it's a little bit hard to see here, but if you look in the bottom here, you can see that this is the number of hours worked month to month. These hours are divided between two people. It's just me and my wife, pretty much 50-50. So it's actually not that much work for one person. So like, for example, in January, I worked about 12 hours, she worked about 12 hours. But if you were to manage the Airbnb yourself, if you were in the same situation, same number of bookings, then you would work about 24 hours for that month. So you can see here that there is a pretty clear correlation between number of hours worked compared to dollars earned. And this is because we give incentive for people to book long-term. So if they book long-term with us, we give them a nice discount. We earn a little bit less, but we also work a lot less. So it's worth it for us to do long-term bookings and make a little less, but work a lot less. In our highest earning month, March 2021, we made almost $2,500, but we actually worked almost 2 times what we normally work. And this is partly due to having a lot of short-term guests, but this is mostly because we had to file 2 damage claims. The first damage claim was for someone who smoked in our place. So we had to file a damage claim for us to remove the smoke smell. And it took a really long time to do that. And the other claim that we filed was for someone who had damaged our bed. They didn't completely break our bed, they just damaged our bed. So we filed a claim to repair the bed. And they paid us something like $100 and something. It was no problem at all. But we actually didn't use that money to repair the bed. We used that money to buy a new bed. The new bed cost something like $400 or $500, and we used that $100 towards that. So we basically got a discount towards the new bed. I didn't actually include that new bed as part of my expenses. I probably should have, but I didn't. So anyways, if you want to include that into March 2021, then I probably made closer to $2,200. Now, starting in April, we switched to a long-term booking. We had someone that stayed in our place for over 90 days. So our number of hours worked went way down, but we still earned over $2,000 per month, and that was great. That happened from April to July 2021. In May, June, July, I said that we worked 30 minutes per month, but it was probably even less than that. We basically just left our guest alone, and it was very low maintenance. In August, it was pretty much business as usual. We made a little bit over $2,300 and we worked about 26 hours. So that was probably something like 4 or 5 bookings. If you want to compare August to something like January, where we also had a good amount of bookings, in August we made a little bit more. So if you were to argue that there is some seasonality in Los Angeles, that would probably be the extent to the seasonality. In August, it's still summer. There's a lot more people that are flying out of state to come visit their friends and family. So there is a little bit more demand, which means that we get to increase prices a little bit, but that's pretty much the extent of the price increase. And then in September and October, we switched to another long-term guest. This time, this guest is staying even longer. We got a commitment from him to stay pretty much on and off for the next 10 months. They're staying with us all of September, all of October, some of November, some of December, and then the rest of 2022, they're staying from January to July 2022. So that's why they're getting such a great deal. We're making less in those months because they're getting a great deal, but I don't mind that right now because we're looking to buy another Airbnb, and it's going to take a lot of time from us, a lot of time commitment from us to set up that new Airbnb. So I don't mind trading in some income for that extra time. If you're curious on how we're getting all these long-term bookings, there is actually a lot of strategy that goes into getting these long-term bookings. I made a video detailing that strategy. So if you are curious, then I'll put a link to that video up here somewhere, and I'll also put a link in the description below. So check that out if you're interested. So if you take all the number of hours worked per month and you average it out, it comes out to about 14.5 hours worked. So it's really not that much time at all per month. 14.5 hours comes out to something like less than 4 hours per week, and divided by 2 people is about 2 hours per week. So not much time at all. The reason why I like calculating the number of hours worked on average is because I don't really think of Airbnb as a passive way to make money. It's not really rental income. It's more of a part-time job that pays a pretty good hourly. So if you take my average earnings per month and you divide it by the average number of hours worked. So if you take 2,121 divided by 14.54, then you get an average earning of $145.85, which is a pretty good hourly, but I guess it's not really fair to think of Airbnb as 100% that way, because you're kind of comparing Airbnb to doing nothing. So you can't really compare Airbnb to doing nothing. You have to compare Airbnb to doing a regular rental. So that's what I did on the right side of this page here. So over here on top, I have the average earnings per month for our Airbnb 2121, and regular rental in my market I think is about $1,200 per month. So that the difference between those two numbers is $921. And by doing Airbnb, I'm working an additional 14 hours per month. With Airbnb, I'm working 14.5 hours per month. So with a regular rental, maybe I would work only 30 minutes per month. Airbnb, I'm doing 14.5 hours per month. So I just divide 921 divided by the extra hours per month, which is 14, and I still get an hourly benefit of $65.79. So for me, that's still very well worth it to do Airbnb. So if you were in the same situation as me, you have a studio backhouse, I would definitely recommend renting out your studio backhouse as an Airbnb. To answer the question about how often we're booked, answer to that is pretty much always. I'll give you a quick look at our calendar tool here. You'll see that we're pretty much always booked starting from January 2021. The blue parts are when we're booked, the gray parts are when we are not booked, but the gray parts are 99% of the time on purpose. This is because we have a buffer, a 24-hour buffer between stays so that we can take our sweet ass time cleaning, and also it gives us the opportunity to make improvements to our place. If we wanted to make more money, we could do a same-day turnaround, so have 0 nights between bookings, and we can also do no minimum night stays, and that would probably make us booked at literally 100% of the year, but that would be pretty stressful, and who wants all that stress anyways? Hopefully you found this information useful. If you are interested in starting Airbnb, then please use my referral link when you sign up for Airbnb. I'll put it in the description below. If you have any questions about how to get started on Airbnb, any questions about Airbnb at all, then I'm gonna put my personal email address in the description below, so feel free to email me. Shout out to Shara, who did use my referral link. You are the first person to use my referral link, so thank you for that. And also shout out to Peter B, my buddy. He's been watching all my videos. He's been liking and commenting on my videos, so thank you for your support. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.